Hello, students, and welcome to our lesson today. We're going to start today with our Do Now. We have an interesting question today. We have this solve approach to problem solving, and we're going to talk about that for a minute. Our objective will be to continue simplifying expressions, and our essential question will be, why should we use the distributive property before we combine like terms? Remember, for participation credit, you're going to do your Do Now in class notebook, your exit ticket, and that's also in class notebook. And you complete your lesson pages, which today includes 20 problems on paper, and you show those to me. You need to hold those up to the camera so I can see what you've done. Even if you didn't finish, that's fine. Do as much as you can, and I want to see how far you've gotten. And for homework, you can just finish up the rest. Most of you will finish in class. I know if all of you could finish in class if you get started. So you have to show the work to the teacher. If I'm out, you can send me a photo. So let's complete any classwork for homework that you didn't get done. Remember that having your camera on, it shows me that you are interested in, and it shows me that you're participating in the lesson. And it helps you to participate when you're engaged. You can earn participation credit only one way in this class, and that's by showing your work to the teacher. If your camera is not functioning, we allow you to send a photo by email, but it's got to be right at the end of the lesson. Keep your objective and your essential question in mind as you work the lesson. That will help you. Remember, completing your Do Now and Exit in Teams counts. It is part of your lesson assignment, but math work is always completed on paper notes. Okay, there is our exit ticket. We'll get back to that in a few minutes. We have a very interesting Do Now. It says the solve approach to problem solving. So we have this SOLV, and let's go down so we can see the E. And that spells solve, and it stands for stop and think. When you stop and think, you ask, how are you feeling about this problem? If you're very angry, how can you cool down? The O stands for to objectively state the problem. How would you describe the problem from your perspective? Remember to be descriptive. Now, how would the other person describe it from their perspective? L is to list options. And if you need to do this on paper, that's great, or just do it in your head or out loud in a conversation. But listing those options means including the pros and cons of each option, the thing that's good about each option and the thing about each option that is not so good. So then voice your choice and act on one of those options. Which option would work best? Can you discuss the options with the other person and together agree on the best solution? That would be a good outcome, wouldn't it? And then evaluate and adjust your thinking. Is the solution working? Maybe you need to just tweak it a little bit and make the solution better. So this is the solve approach to problem solving. And, the question for you today, I'm going to make it a little smaller so we can see the whole thing at once, is can the solve approach to problem solving work at school? Okay, do you think this could work at school? How about teachers and administrators? Do you think they would use this approach? What do you think? Is this something that's doable for all of us? Something that would work for all of us? I'd like you to think about that. And as you think about that, I'd like you to put your answer right here. So let's move on to our lesson. We're working again today with simplifying expressions. We're doing that by combining like terms and distributing, but we will always distribute before we combine like terms. So for the first 8 problems, we simply need to distribute. So 3 times the quantity of m plus 9. 3 times m is 3m. 3 times positive 9 is 27. 2 times the quantity of x minus 2, 8. I don't know why I said 2. 8, that's a positive 8, an invisible positive sign. 8 times x is 8x. 8 times negative 2 is negative 16. So those are final answers so far for those 2. Number 3, we have negative 2 times the quantity 2k plus 9. Negative 2 times 2k is negative 4k. Negative 2 times 9 is negative 18. And now number 4, we have 15 times the quantity of v minus 4, negative 15. Let's not forget that negative sign in front. Always be careful. That's where the mistakes are. Negative 15 times v is negative 15v. Negative 15 times negative 4, let's fix our v so it looks a little better. It looks a little more v-ish. There we go. Now, negative 15 times negative 4, negative times a negative is a positive. 15 times 4 is 60. So our final answer, negative 15v plus 60. Number 5, we're multiplying positive 6 times the quantity of 4 minus y. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times negative y is negative 6y. Or you could rewrite that as negative 6y plus 24. Either one of those is correct. Negative times the quantity 4k plus 11. What that is saying is that negative sign is a negative 1. It's an invisible one. When you have a negative sign outside a quantity in parentheses, it simply acts to change the sign of the quantity in the parentheses. So negative times positive 4 is negative 4k. Negative times positive 11 is negative 11. So all we did was change the signs when simply multiplying by a negative. You need to remember that is a negative 1. It's an invisible 1. Now we have 5 times the quantity 3r plus 1. 5 times 3r is 15r, and 5 times a positive 1 is positive 5. And now we have number 8, a negative 7 times the quantity 4 minus 3p. Negative 7 times a positive 4 is negative 28. Negative 7 times negative 3 is a positive 21, and then we have that p there. So now let's work on the rest of the page, number 9 through 20. We have 2 times the quantity of x plus 9 minus 7x plus 4. So with each of these, we will have to distribute, then combine like terms. So 2 times x is 2x. 2 times positive 9 is positive 18. Then I copy down the rest of the problem. And 2x minus 7x is negative 5x. And positive 18 times positive 4 is positive 22. Now I have negative 4 times the quantity of 2k minus 1 plus 9k minus 15. Negative 4 times 2k is negative 8k. Negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4 plus 9k minus 15. So we distributed. Now we combine like terms. Negative 8k plus 9k is 1k, and we simply write k. We have an invisible 1 in front of the k. 4 minus 15 is negative 11. Number 11, we have 12 times the quantity of c minus 3 plus 27 plus c minus 9c. 12 times c is 12c. 12 times negative 3 is negative 36 plus 27 plus c minus 9c. Let's combine like terms. 12c plus one more c, we have an invisible 1 there, is 13c. 13c minus 9c is 4c, positive 4c. Okay, 36, negative 36 plus 27. Remember, we ignore the signs, subtract, and take the sign of the larger number. So that would be 36 minus 27 is 9. That would be negative 9. Now we have number 12, negative 3 times the quantity of 4w plus 5 minus 16 minus 2w. Negative 3 times 4w is negative 12w. Negative 3 times positive 5 is negative 15. Then we have that minus 16 minus 2w. So let's combine negative 12w and negative 2w equals negative 14w. And negative 15 minus 16 is negative 31. So our final answer, negative 14w minus 31. Number 13, we have negative 10 minus 3 times the quantity of 7 minus p. Think of this as a negative 3. So we need to distribute first. We'll write down the negative 10. Negative 3 times 7 is negative 21. Negative 3 times positive p is positive 3p. And we can combine negative 10 and negative 21 for negative 31 plus 3p. And I would rewrite this with the variable term first, 3p minus 31. Number 14, we have 15n, then we have that negative sign times the quantity of 6n plus 8 plus 1. So first we'll distribute the negative sign, which in this case, when we have a negative sign outside the parentheses, it changes the sign of everything in parentheses, and we do have an invisible 1 there. So it multiplies everything by negative 1, and that's how the signs are changed. So first we have our 15n, then 6n becomes negative 6n, and 8 becomes negative 8, and we have that plus 1. Now we combine like terms. 15n minus 6n equals 9n. Negative 8 plus 1 is negative 7, and our final answer is 9n minus 7. Now, number 15, negative h, and there's an invisible 1 there, negative minus 5 times the quantity of h plus 7 minus 29. So we will distribute negative 5 through h plus 7. So we start writing our negative h. Negative 5 times h is negative 5h. Negative 5 times 7, positive 7, is a negative 35 minus 29. So we'll combine negative h with negative 5h, and this is an invisible 1 here. So that would be negative 6h, and then negative 35 minus 29. We're going to add and keep the number. So 64, that would be negative 64. Negative 35 plus negative 29 is negative 64. And now number 16, 24 plus 4x minus 6 times the quantity 2x minus 5. Let's start writing down the beginning part. We have 24 plus 4x. And then we have negative 6 times 2x, which would be negative 12x. Negative 6 times negative 5 would be positive 60. Now we can combine 4x minus 12x, and that would give us negative 8x. Now we can combine 24 plus 60 to get 84, 8x plus 84. Number 17, I think I'll change the color so it'll be clearer for you to see them. 7 times the quantity of 3 minus 2k plus 9 times the quantity of k minus 5. So we've got two quantities to distribute through. 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times negative 2 is negative 14k. k. Plus 9 times k is 9k. And then 9 times negative 5 is negative 45. Now let's combine like terms. Negative 14, positive 9 would be negative 5k. And 21 minus 45 would be negative 24. And that's our final answer. Number 18, 1 plus 3 times the quantity of r minus 8 minus 4 times the quantity of r plus 4. So let's distribute first. So it would be 1 plus 3 times, oh, I colored over and I can hardly read it. Let's clear that up a little bit. Okay, it's an r. 1 plus 3 times r is 3r, and 3 times negative 8 is negative 24. Negative 4 times r is negative 4r. Negative 4 times positive 4 is a negative 16. So let's combine 3r minus 4r is negative 1r, and we just write it negative r. 1 minus 24 is negative 23, and negative 23 minus 16 is negative 39. Let's see, this would be, let's double check that, 23, yep, negative 39. So negative r minus 39. Number 19, we have two quantities in this problem. 2 times the quantity of 5 minus a minus 6 times the quantity of 2a plus 3. So we need to do a lot of distributing here. So 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times negative 1, that's an invisible 1, is negative 2a. 6 times 2, negative 6 times 2 is negative 12a. And negative 6 times a positive 3 is a negative 18. So negative 2a minus 12a is negative 14a. Let me make that a little bigger so you can see it a little better. It's a little too small. And then 10 minus 18 is negative 8. In our last problem, negative 8 times the quantity of m plus 1 plus 5 times the quantity of 3m minus 2. Negative 8 times m is negative 8m. Negative 8 times 1 is negative 8. 5 times 3 is going to be a positive 15m minus 5 times 2, 10. So negative 8 plus 15 is a positive 7m, and negative 8 minus 10 is a negative 8 minus 10 is negative 18 for a final answer of 7m minus 18. So let's go back to our exit ticket. So we are asked to distribute means to combine like terms means to. To distribute means to multiply a quantity outside the parentheses by a quantity inside the parentheses. To combine like terms means to collect like terms together. So that there are fewer terms in all. Okay, so you've worked very hard. We're done with our lesson. Make sure you show your work to the teacher. If you have a problem with your camera, email a copy, a photo of your paper notes immediately to goldj@newlondon.org. I'll write that here. And thank you for all your hard work. Keep practicing and you'll be great.